Good morning or good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tiffany Papillon, and I thank you for being here. Today, I want to explore how mentors cultivate ethical leadership development by intentionally using James Rest's four-component model of ethical action. Rest's model includes four elements: moral sensitivity, moral judgment, moral motivation, and moral character. As we'll see, this model isn't just a theory. It's a practical roadmap mentors can use to guide emerging leaders. Together, we'll connect organizational research, mentorship practices, and even a biblical worldview that highlights why ethical mentorship is deeply relational. Let me start with a quick reflection. When you think of a leader you admire, what stands out the most? Competence or character? Why? That simple reflection reminds us, while skills are important, it's ethical character that sustains trust and long-term influence. Research shows ethical leadership is foundational for effective organizations. Brown and Trevino described it as balanced decision-making, two-way communication, and creating a reward system that sustains ethical standards. In short, ethical leadership is not a nice to have. It's an organizational imperative. When it's absent, organizations suffer. Consider a case you may be familiar with, the Enron scandal. Highly intelligent leaders, but ethically bankrupt decisions. No strong mentors modeling integrity, and the result was collapse. This ethical failure certainly eroded public trust. Contrast that with Indra Nooyi, former CEO of PepsiCo. She was widely admired for leading with integrity, championing diversity, and mentoring younger leaders. She consistently emphasized performance with purpose, showing that profitability and principles can coexist in a culture founded on integrity. That comparison underscores why mentorship is vital. Ethical leaders don't just appear, they're developed. The power of mentorship is that moral development is shaped by trusted relationships. Sweeney and Fry noted that moral development improves when people engage with mentors and role models who guide them through moral dilemmas. Think for a moment. Has someone ever guided you through a difficult decision? How did that shape your values or your path forward? That's the essence of mentorship. It shapes not only what we know through guided practice, but shapes who we become. This mentoring dynamic aligns closely with a biblical worldview. In Titus, Paul instructs elder men and women to teach the younger not just through words, but by being role models in faith and good works. Mentorship here is relational. It's not merely passing down information. It's walking alongside, demonstrating humility, acting with accountability, modeling integrity, and serving others before self. We also see this in Proverbs 27:17. As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. Mentorship sharpens both mentor and mentees, creating a community of accountability and growth. This biblical foundation reinforces the idea that mentorship is about knowledge plus character development within a relationship based on trust. Let's now look at REST's four-component model. It's a simple but powerful framework. Moral sensitivity means recognizing ethical issues. Moral judgment, deciding the best ethical action. Moral motivation, prioritizing ethics over personal gain. And moral character, having the courage to act consistently with ethical values. Each component builds on the other, and together they form a cycle of ethical action. Mentors can use these as touch points to intentionally cultivate ethical leadership in their mentees. The first component is moral sensitivity, recognizing when a situation has an ethical dimension. Johnson describes this as noticing and interpreting moral issues in complex circumstances. Here's a quick scenario for you. Imagine you discover a colleague has slightly inflated performance numbers. Do you say something, or do you choose to stay quiet? At first glance, it might seem like a small issue, but moral sensitivity means asking deeper questions. Who might be harmed? Who gains? What values are at stake? Mentors help mentees develop this awareness by encouraging reflection, role-playing, and asking those probing questions. A good mentor doesn't just give answers, they help mentees to see what's beneath the surface. The second component is moral judgment, deciding what the ethical course of action will be. Here, mentors can introduce different ethical frameworks. For example, the utilitarian approach, which choice creates the greatest good, or the justice approach, which option treats people fairly, or virtue ethics, which action reflects the kind of leader you want to become. Imagine the same performance report scenario. A utilitarian might ask, does correcting this help or hurt the organization? A justice approach may ask, is this fair to stakeholders? And using virtue ethics, one may ask, what does honesty require me as a leader right now? Here, the short-term result may be increased conflict in the team, but the long-term result is increased trust and credibility. Mentors help mentees practice this kind of reasoning, so when the real dilemmas come, they're equipped to make ethical decisions, not just convenient ones. Knowing the right choice isn't enough. The third component, moral motivation, is about prioritizing ethical values over competing pressures. Johnson highlights that ethical motivation means resisting hypocrisy and holding firm even when it personally costs us. Real-world examples help here. Think of whistleblowers who expose corruption. Many face personal and professional loss, but they choose to prioritize integrity. Mentors play a key role by sharing their own stories of pressure and integrity, by celebrating ethical courage, and by reminding mentees that success without ethics is hollow. Let me ask, what pressure in your organization might tempt leaders to compromise their values? How could mentorship counteract those pressures? This is where mentorship provides both encouragement and accountability. Finally, ethical leadership requires moral character, the resilience and courage to consistently act ethically, even when it's hard. This is where mentors must model what they preach. When mentors demonstrate consistency in small and large decisions, mentees learn what it looks like to lead with integrity. Mentors can also help mentees build resilience by encouraging reflection on past failures, holding them accountable for commitments, and holding themselves accountable for commitments, and reminding mentees that setbacks are opportunities for growth. Think of leaders who inspire you. Chances are it's not just because of their success. It's because they showed courage and consistency under pressure. So, how do we put this into practice? Mentorship that cultivates ethical leadership should be both structural and relational. Structured means being intentional, using regular reflection sessions, case study discussions, and guided conversations with mentees about real ethical dilemmas. Relational means modeling integrity, walking alongside, and creating a safe environment for accountability. Here's a simple 3-step mentorship process you can apply. First, build trust and model ethical behavior. Next, use structured reflection and dialogue around dilemmas. And lastly, provide accountability and encouragement over time. Take a moment now. Think of one mentoring relationship you're involved in, either as a mentor or a mentee. What's one way you could apply REST's model in that relationship this week. See, this is where theory becomes practice. Let's bring this all together. Ethical leadership is the foundation of organizational effectiveness. Mentorship provides the relationship space for leaders to grow ethically. REST's model, moral sensitivity, moral judgment, moral motivation, and moral character, gives us a practical roadmap. And from a biblical perspective, mentorship is more than skill development. It's about character, integrity, and community. So here's my final question for you. What ethical legacy do you want to leave through your leadership and mentorship? Thank you for your time and attention. Questions?